Okay, so we have with us Miss Richa Singh from YourDost, and it's pleasure to have you here on the occasion of World Mental Health Day. And I hope this is going to be an insightful session because we are going to learn from the expert herself. So I have a set of questions with you. So we'll go over those questions one by one. So I firmly believe that organizations play a very vital role in shaping an individual, and they can, impact the mental health aspect as well. So I would want to know your views on this.
While I believe that organizations do play a very important role in shaping the mental health of an individual, but I also believe that with the whole work from home and hybrid cultures coming in, I think a team culture of an organization becomes even more important, right? It's not always the organization-wide culture, which is important. In fact, in one of the surveys that we conducted at Yodos, one of the things that came up that um, relationship at work stood out as one of the big factors which affect an employee's mental health, right? The ability to form strong bonds with our managers, with our colleagues, they act as the biggest catalyst in establishing that sense of belongingness in an organization, that sense of support system. In fact, Simran, just to give you some numbers, we were surprised to see 78% people say they do not feel that they have an opportunity in an organization to develop strong relationships that go beyond work, right? 60% feel that they do not even have strong relationship at work. Um, 30% people talked about they do not think their team takes care of their well-being also, right? So I think it's important at an organization level to prioritize saying emotional wellness is not just a HR activity or a thing. It's an agenda of the organization, right? It's important if my people are well. That's when we could be the best organizations that we are trying to create or whatever we are building for us. The problem that we are trying to solve, we will only be able to solve if we have the people who are healthier and happier working towards having that purpose to solve.
Right. So that being established, that employers have a major role to play. I would want to know what are the strategies or initiatives that your Dost, takes to ensure the well-being of their employees.
A lot of it actually, Simran. So we try to do a lot of from trainings for our team members, saying, "Hey, um, how do you identify someone in your team needs help? Right? What should you say? What should you not say?" We are conscious about focusing on team culture, focusing on organization culture. It's not just an afterthought. We understand that different teams could have different culture, be it their working days, be it their norms, whether some teams prefer being hybrid, some people prefer being work from office, and we are completely okay with that, right? And like I was telling you, a lot of research said that people feel they do not have an opportunity to develop strong relationships that they go beyond work. We take company-wide initiatives to develop that. For example, we would have YPL, which is YD Premier League, right? Because
Okay.
sports not just create that sense of camaraderie, it also takes care of your mental and emotional health, physical health.
It
While
binds people as
companies,
well.
yes, in
Yes.
beautiful ways, right? I know how many people would say, "Oh, I did not even know so many people from the other team, and now suddenly they're all friends, and things move so quickly as an organization." Right? So it's not just
Right.
good for their mental health. I think it's a biggest strategy for organization also to get things done very quickly, right? We also do something like a founders orientation, right? Or a lunch with founders where um, while people who are in the office, we will organize lunch for them, but also people who are joining from home or hybrid place, remote locations, we would also have lunch delivered to them, right? And as founders, we would also try to know them because as the organization, earlier we would know everybody, right? But as the organizations become bigger, it's you might not know each level and everybody in the organization. So we take those conscious efforts so that founders, people also know everybody. And there is that safe space created where people could talk, people could discuss things with each other. I think one thing that we have constantly also got, Simran, as a feedback as an organization, that a lot of people feel that it is a very safe space, right? We also do a lot of trainings for our managers, our people overall, right? From LGBTIQA plus community, um, where we create that safe space where people could open up, share their experiences rather than being judged. So we do invest a lot into that. We also believe a lot into transparency of communication. How is the organize? Because that's also one of the things. A lot of times for employees, that's is the organization doing well, not doing well, what's happening in other teams. So I think something that we've continued to do for 8 years is having an all hands right on a monthly basis, so that teams know where it's transparent. People know how other team members are doing. We discuss numbers. How is the organization doing? Um, I think one of the things we always talk about in an organization, we are all humans. Humans are vulnerable. It's okay to talk about it. In fact, recently we did a survey at YourDost. So all the YourDost facilities, be it self-help tools, be it therapy, be it a lot of fun and engaging ways of promoting mental health that we do for our clients, we also do for our own people, right? And we recently, with our survey that we did, we realized more than 70% of the people who work at YourDost have taken therapy sessions or mental health support sessions for the first time at YourDost itself, right? So that also, and
That is wonderful.
that like we sort of what we sell is also something that we preach, right? We stand for wellness, where wellness is a pillar, right? A wellness is a pillar for our well-being and not a crutch. And I think that's something that we're conscious to do. Invest into that, be it training of people, do be it creating safe spaces, be it training of managers, saying how do you support each other, um, right? So that people know each other as people, and I think that makes doing work a lot more easier, honestly speaking.
Like you mentioned, humans are vulnerable, and it's good that it's no more a stigma now. So how would you say that the strategies and initiatives are different at different levels? When you uh, climb the ladder, I think the stress is more. How would you say that it's a little different at different levels?
Um, so I think, see, a lot of people, they were great individual contributors, right? They did well. That's why they were promoted to the next level, and maybe they are managing a team right now, right? Maybe that is not their forte. And especially sometimes they get that frustration that, what, I used to work, whatever, 12 hours, 13 hours, and I used to do this. The other person is not doing that, right? And that could just lead to that maybe frustration or, but I think one of the things that we also train our teams, and I think it's very important for each one of us to understand that everyone has their own definition of work life integration or a work life balance, right? Um,
That's
for someone, maybe they want to prioritize career, they are going in a race, they want to be fast paced, whereas somebody who wants to prioritize other things, right? And that is okay, right? We need not demonize maybe working long hours, neither we need to demonize saying leaving early, right? We've moved from that era of saying where we were leaving early was a crime to where working hard is now people are demonizing sometimes. I think it's important for us to understand our definitions might be different, right? And I think more so for seniors and managers to understand that, as long as we could create the right expectations, set the goals, and focus on results, right? I think that's about it. That's how, as leaders, we could enable our team members to perform better, right? As a company, it is our responsibility to provide the right kind of environment, right training, right toolkits to people to be able to manage themselves better, so that they could be more resilient, right? But I think it's also very important for us to understand everybody is working in their own time zone, right? And everybody is unique. And what might work for me might not work for anyone, right? But as long as leader I've set my expectation right, or they have set their expectation right, and we know what framework we are working with, and as long as results are coming, that's okay, right? I've seen a lot of people who would be like, oh, but they should come at this time, they should come leave at this time, right? Or when I was 2 years experienced, I used to do this, but they don't do this. But it's okay. Maybe your aspiration to move in your career was very different from the way that other person's aspiration is. Maybe they prioritize different things, right? It's their time zone. Some people want to be VPs by the time they are 30. Some people are by the time of 50, right? Some people maybe do not even want to be VP. right? And it's okay. I think we need all kinds of people in the. So I think we put a lot of effort, Simran, just to say into training our team members realize this. How do you manage? How do you set clear indications? Also providing toolkits for all levels, right? Be it individual levels, manager levels, leaders levels, saying to manage yourself, to build that resilient teams, your be it trainings, being self-care. I think that's something that we try to do so that we could have an organization which is thriving.
So building on that, we see a lot of posts online where we talk about working weekends and how, people do not want to even answer the calls on the weekends. So how do, because there's a serious problem behind it, a serious problem of burnout. So how do we tackle this at an individual level and also as an organization?
Hmm. Um, so there are two, three things, right? I would maybe there are a few aspects that I look at where I know there are organizations which would say that, hey, we do not want people to send emails after 12 in the night, for example, right? Whereas I would say I would want to train myself saying if this is my, I resign once I'm out of work, I resign from work and I rejoin work maybe in the morning, right? That's a culture I want to build. That's a discipline I want to build for myself, right? Because I cannot control what my environment would be. I think as an organization, it's also important for us to tell people, and I think tell people that it's okay. It is their time, right? Whatever is the. So it's less about time. It's more about. I'm sorry, so sorry. Just give me a moment.
No problem, no problem.
Sorry.
No problem, Richa.
Should I go ahead, or you want to ask the question again, Simran?
No, no, please continue. It's okay.
Right. So, Simran, I look at it in two ways, right? I know there are organizations which would say things like maybe they would discourage people to send mails after a certain time, or I rather want people to invest in themselves, right? To find their own balance, right? If whatever my time works with me at 8 p.m. I in my day or 6 p.m. I in my day, to 10 p.m. I in my day, whatever it is, right? I'm like when I'm out of work, I resign from my work. When I come back to work, I join my work, right? And I let my team also know that unless there is an emergency, this is how my day sort of works like, right? Instead of saying that I would take one holiday at some time, maybe also taking frequent short breaks so that we return back to work more rejuvenated really does help, right? So that we are fresh, we are energized. Um, Consistently investing on hobbies or other things, I believe that also helps, right? But I think one thing also, I strongly believe that as an organization as well, I think it is important for us to set that right expectation. See, what are we expecting out of you, right? With saying this is the goal, right? Rather than saying if somebody works 20, 10 hours, that is great, whereas somebody you only work 6 hours. I don't think it's about that, right? As long as you could deliver results, uh, that helps, right? Because burnout happens when you spend too much time and there is a difference between your expectation versus your reality, right? And there is a mismatch that happens. And I think it's very important for me as an individual, if I want to be high performing, to invest on myself, right? And can I enable teams, can I enable individuals to be able to do that? I think that is where we come. Sort of, we would try to help, saying, how could we help that employees uh, develop some of those healthy habits, right? Or can not just employees. How can, as an individual, I develop some of those healthy habits so that we could be our best when we are coming to work. Also, I think we also have some of the guiding principles that we and I believe that every organization could have something like that, which is your way. It's not just how your manager way of doing things, but it's your dost way of doing things, right? These are your guiding principles that help you navigate your dost, right? Or the way we work here. For example, respect, right? You respect your team members, you respect your clients, you respect your team members, you respect everybody, right? And uh, that is important for us. You respect your clients, you respect your commitments, you respect the confidentiality, you respect your colleagues, you respect deadlines, ideas, service partners, right? We also have something like we do not follow our customers, we always lead them, which means we would always do the right things for our customers, and believe that the rest will follow. It's not just that, I like this, that's why, or rather, because somebody has told me to do so, I will do so, right? I will do so because this is right for my client. I think where I'm coming from, Simran, is sometimes we also have to be assertive in doing that, right? For example, I know as an organization also, if uh, I remember this example from long back, right? Somebody was not communicating in the right language to our team, and we are very cognizant about the language tone that we use for our team members, right? I, as a manager, stood up and said, you know what, we value what we do, we value you as a partner, but I'm not comfortable with the kind of tone that's being used for my team member, right? Sometimes that's important. Sometimes I know even at YourDost, we have something called a fair usage policy. Just because a user is paying us doesn't mean they could misuse the platform, right? From They could spam it, they could uh, use abusive language or say inappropriate things, etc. Right? So I think one is, how do I take care of myself? Also, I believe those guiding principles help us navigate it right, so that I could be. I'm not arrogant, but I'm still assertive, so that I say this is our space, right? This is how we would also want the things to be done, right? I know there are organizations which would always tell us, we don't want to work with you because you're not telling me who is seeking support, right? And it is a breach of confidentiality. We are not okay with that. So as an organization also, sometimes we need to train our managers, our people, saying it's okay to just like say, maybe this is not working out as a relationship, maybe we are not the right partners with you, right? So I think training our teams to be able to be that assertive, helping our people ourselves to have those right tools for us to balance ourselves better, um, training our managers to be able to support people better. I think those are some of the ways that I could think of, Simran, to prevent the burnout.
Right, Richa. So, moving ahead, I would want to know some of the trends and the changes that you foresee in the mental health space regarding work life balance.
Um, I think one of the things that I foresee in an organization wide is definitely, I believe, over time flexibility will become more important, right? Um, people Over time, people will start prioritizing self care as well, right? So I think it's very important that we, with flexibility, where people are working across the globe to achieve a common purpose, I think it's important for us to set the clear goals, set the clear expectation, and measure performance, rather than, I still know there are a lot of organization for them it's hours that is equivalent to productivity, which may or may not be the case, right? We need to be able to set clear goals, have clear expectation, and measure performance, right? We also, probably, I believe that we also need to get used to the way of asynchronous communication rather than setting meeting for everything. I think it's important, because our zones could be different, right? So if I sent an email at 1 in the night, I'm just hypothetically, I don't expect you to answer me at 1 in the night, right? But instead of us, all of us setting a meeting so that we are all there at 11 and we could talk to each other, maybe sending and saying it's okay. 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever, 72 hours, depending on what is the uh, uh, severity of the thing, it's fine, right? So I think people will become more flexible. I think in a workforce, flexibility will become important. I think as a companies, we should start getting used to asynchronous communication, and we should be able to sort of as organizations support people so that they could manage themselves better. I think those are some of the trends that I believe. I also feel while initially mental health has always been about, there has been a lot of stigma, which continues to be there, but it's getting better. Mental health is about accessibility, affordability, availability. But I think if we have to make mental health for everyone, it also has to be fun and engaging, right? Very, very important. And I think that's the new trend that we are going to see, right? To make mental health for everyone so that we are like how there is food, clothing, roti kapda makan are essential in life. Similarly, living a life with purpose is important and crucial for everyone, and I think that's something we are working towards. I think that's realization would also come into our communities very soon. I already see a trend in the right direction, simply very proud of that.
So you mentioned that it's important to make mental health fun. Would you like to elaborate
Yes.
on that?
um, I'll tell you maybe some of the things that we are doing today, right? Being World Mental Health Day, we are doing these games and things. A lot of the partners that we work with, right? Where you've seen these games like Jenga,
Right, right, I
right?
have. Yes.
So we are doing some blockbuster event where you have these blocks that you put on each other, and there are we are trying to do more awareness around mental, emotional, social wellness, cognitive wellness, and there are a lot of questions, people participating. We are making them do certain exercises. Now that's a fun. Everybody wants to participate into something like this, right? It's not only for people who are stressed, depressed, anxiety. No, it is for everyone to be better, right? A better version of themselves, right? We have these quizzes where people could take live, like how you have this KBC में आप live ले सकते हो. Similarly, we have very interesting quizzes where people could nominate other people from the team and take live from them. So I think there needs to be fun and engaging way, so that it becomes mainstream, right? Everybody talks about it. It's not a hush hush topic. Mental health for me is not equivalent to therapy, right? Therapy comes much later. It is about how do I enable people with the tools, be it awareness tools, self-reflective tools, exercises, etc., so that they could be a better version of themselves. And if they require therapy, therapy is also there. If they require a psychiatrist support, medication, that is also. But it's a spectrum, right? And if we could support more people right at the beginning by making it fun and engaging, I don't think it'll reach to a level where it's severe and critical.
So mental health is not about anxiety or depression, right? So any
It
other
is
message?
about being a better version of ourselves. That's about it.
Yes, absolutely. Any other message that you would like to give to our audience on the World Mental Health Day?
I want everybody to know that we are humans. Being humans means we are vulnerable, right? There are days where we have our highs, there are days we have our lows, and it's okay. It's absolutely normal. Let's talk about it, right? The more good days, the better our lives would be, right? We should always be people who are collecting those good moments, and if there could be tools that could help us do that, nothing like that, right? So it's okay. Just like any other thing, it's okay to talk about our emotional well-being as well, and that's how everybody will sort of normalize that.
Right. All right, Richa, thank you so much for your time. It was an insightful session, and